Hey everybody, welcome back to the Backpack Hack channel, and this video is going to be a review of the Zebralight SC600Fd IV Plus. There's a lot of characters for a model number. Why Zebralight does that, I don't know. But this is going to be a long video, so grab a cold one, kick back and relax, and let's get started. First off, if you want to get to the actual meat and potatoes of the review itself, go ahead and go to this timestamp in the video, because I'm going to start out with telling you why I chose this flashlight for my EDC flashlight. Primary reason was I needed a new flashlight. My old one died. I tried to fix it. It got to the point where it was like, you know, unplug everything, roll up the cords, and pull a sheet over its head and turn the lights out as we walk out the door. It just couldn't be salvaged. I couldn't fix it. So I went on a quest. I bought some other flashlights. They didn't last very long. I bought some cheap flashlights. I didn't like them. And so I finally got to the point where I decided I'm going to buy the perfect EDC flashlight. Now, perfect is to me. This may not necessarily be the perfect flashlight for you, because your needs, your wants, and your requirements are going to be different from mine. But I did a lot of searching, I did a lot of investigating, I did a lot of reading reviews and information. I went to a lot of the candle power forums and budget light forums, and watched a lot of videos, and kind of educated myself so I could come up with the best, what I considered the best flashlight for me. And again, this is for me, not for you. And I came up with 5 requirements that I said that I was going to be non-negotiable when I chose a flashlight. If it didn't have these features, it was out of contention. Now, these are my 5, and if you have requirements, those are going to be different. But here's what I chose for my requirements. Number 1 is it takes an 18650 battery. I didn't want AAAs, I didn't want AAs, I didn't want CR123s. I wanted an 18650 battery. For 2 reasons. First off, 18650s are basically the AA battery of today. Though you can't go into a drugstore and buy them, they are so common today. They're basically as common as AA and AAA batteries were back in the 60s. Another reason I wanted 18650 batteries is I mine 18650 batteries out of laptop batteries. So I have a lot of batteries available to me to run this thing. I was also looking for somewhere around 400 to 600 lumens for a maximum output. I didn't feel I really needed anything else. So as long as I got 400 to 600 lumens for a total or a maximum output, I was fine. In terms of minimum output, I wanted something that was considerably less than my Phoenix FD40, which was 7 lumens. 7 lumens, you may not believe it, is a lot of light when your eyes are dark adapted to the night. So I wanted something at least 1 lumen minimum. If I could get less, that's fine, but I was looking for a 1 lumen or less flashlight. The other requirement I had was that it turn on onto low, meaning when I turn it on, I'm not blinded by this great big aircraft searchlight. I want it to come on to low, and you probably can't even see that because it's so dim. Let me bring it up so you can see this. That is low. I can ramp it up to medium and high. That's low, medium, high. I want it to turn on to low right off the bat. Like I say, it's buggy here, so bear with me. The requirement was that it have some sort of waterproof, water tightness, water prevention. You know, be able to at least stand a little soaking if it gets left out in the rain. If I sweat, if I drop it into a stream or a lake or a river and I'm able to retrieve it, that it's going to survive that. The one requirement that I did not put in my list is a budget number. Now, obviously, if this flashlight was going to cost me $1,000, I'd probably think twice, but I didn't give myself a hard, fast number. I decided first off I was going to see what was out there that would fit those 5 requirements, and then make a decision based on the price and other features that were available to it. There were features that those 5 were non-negotiable. There's other features that I was looking for that weren't a make or break, because it wasn't a requirement. Yeah, they're nice to have, but it didn't kick a particular flashlight out of contention if it didn't have that. There are also features in flashlights that I don't care whether they're in there or not. I'll never use them, so if they're included, fine. If they're not, no big deal. And then there was a 4th set of features that if the flashlight had that feature, I didn't want it. Case in point, coming on high. If it came on high and I had to step it down to get to the level I want, that kicked it out. So out of those 5 requirements, Zebralight was one of the few that actually met those 5 requirements. There were a couple of others, but there was a lot of features in this one that I decided to go with, and I made this my preferred flashlight for my EDC carry. So with that said, let's get on with the review, and I'll show you a lot of the features and the capabilities of this particular flashlight. Again, the Zebralight SC600Fd IV Plus. So let's get started, shall we? As I said, this is the SC600Fd IV Plus. And to break this all down, SC stands for side click, meaning the switch is on the side like an old-fashioned traditional flashlight that you used to buy back in the 60s and 70s. The 600 actually derives from the 6 from the 18650 battery. At least that's what Zebralight tells me. The F stands for a floody or flood reflector lens. The D means daylight. It's a 5000K LED. The Roman numeral 4 means this is the 4th generation or the 4th iteration of this particular version. And the plus refers to the LED, meaning it's an HXP50 or an XHP50 or XHP 50.2 LEDs. The flashlight has 3 groups, G5, G6, G7. Don't ask me why they're numbered that way. That's Zebralight. And there are 3 levels per group, and you can have 2 lumen level outputs per level. So you have H1, H2, M1, M2, and L1 and L2. So that means in each group you have available 12 possible outputs, 6 in each group. You can choose 6 out of those 12 for each group. Now G5, the H1 is fixed at 1816 lumens. H2 can be 1035, 557, or 283 lumens. M1 is fixed at 135, M2 can be 61, 26, or 10.5 lumens. And L1 is fixed at 44 lumens, and L2 can be programmed for 1.4, 0.5, or 0.15 lumens. Now I'm not sure what the factory settings are for H2, M2, and L2, so I won't go over those. I contacted the manufacturer as they have not published run times for any of these lumen levels, and they responded saying they haven't completed their testing. So I don't know what's going on with that, why it's taken so long. Yes, obviously some of the lower lumen levels stretch out to months, but you would think some of the higher ones, they could go ahead and get those published, but I don't own the company, so they're not listening to me. Again, G6 and G7 can be programmed to any lumen level up to 6.
There are several options with this flashlight that you can do just from the off position. Pushing the button once will turn it on to high. From there you can cycle through low, medium, and high. And it will cycle through all 3 of those. Whichever one you stop on, and I'm going to stop on medium here, I can double click and go to M2. There's M1 and M2. I cycle through this again, go to high, that's H1, there's H2. And I can cycle through all 3 of those and do L1 and L2. And that is from the off position. If I click it twice, it will go to medium. Now, this only works for me in G5. For some reason in G6 and G7, it goes to high. I've contacted Zebralight about that, and they just tell me to reprogram it. I tried that and it didn't work. So whether I have a problem with mine or whether they just haven't figured out that there is a problem with all of them, I don't know. But that's how you turn this on and off. 3 clicks, and I'll put a warning out here for a flashing light warning. You may want to look away for the next few seconds and just listen to the audio, but 3 clicks puts you into the strobe mode or the beacon mode. Whichever mode you left it at, it will come back onto that mode. And if you turned away from the video, it's okay to turn it back now because I've turned off the strobe. If you Want to know how much power is left in the flashlight? You simply press it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will flash 1 to 4 times. The more flashes, the more power. Zebralight doesn't specify whether one flash means 10% or 20% or 30%, whether 4 flashes means 80 or 90 or 100. They just say the more flashes, the better. So I kind of made my own little rule of 20, 40, 60, 80. If I hit the button 4 times and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, I can say, I just count 20, 40, 60, 80. I have roughly 80%. That's how I do it. 5, 6, and 7 clicks will put you into G5 mode, G6 mode, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm in my G6 mode, which is my low mode. And 7 is my high mode. Now it will come on to the brighter brighter lumen outputs. So 1 through 7 clicks from off, each has a different function, and I'll probably do a video sometime about explaining that a little bit more. But for a review, that's I think all we need for that.
Like many other current Zebralight flashlights, this has 4 strobe and beacon modes. Now if you're sensitive to flashing lights, I'm going to put a time to zip through this, and you may want to skip this part of the video if you are sensitive to flashing lights. So be warned that there are going to be flashing lights. But it has 4 strobe modes, or 4 beacon and strobe modes. It does 2 Hertz at low, 2 Hertz at high, 4 Hertz at high, and 19 Hertz at high. And basically what that translates into is, in low mode, it will flash once every 5 seconds. Or in high mode, you can have it flash once every 5 seconds. Or you can have it flash 4 times a second in high, and you can have it flash 19 seconds in high. Now, I stated earlier that this is a 5000K rated flashlight, and they also say it's high CRI. My test shows that it's, if you want to get technical, 4,837. Now that's 3.25% tolerance, and I don't think anybody's ever going to notice the difference. So it is a very nice flashlight for when color is very, very critical. It's one of their highest rated models for high CRI. And I'll throw some samples up here to show you the difference between the 5000K and actually taking a photograph at 4837K plus what it's going to be like out in the sunlight. So you can see between these 3 different color patches, they are very, very similar, and that means this is a very good flashlight for reproducing colors accurately. It is IPX8 resistant, which I think means goes down to 2 meters or something like that. So it's fine for getting wet. You can drop it in the stream or the lake and retrieve it. It can stand out in the rain, but it's not for scuba diving, and that's not what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for a 100-meter flashlight, just enough to keep the water out. It uses one 18650 unprotected lithium-ion cell. That's very important, unprotected. If you get a protected cell, my guess is that the higher lumen outputs, it's going to trip that overload. The F in the model number means it's a floody, which in this case there is an orange peel reflector with a light frosted front element on it. You can kind of see through that frosting of the glass, and you can see that orange peel reflector. The SC stands for side click. It does come with a clip and an extra O-ring, and you can purchase extra clips and O-rings from Zebralight, either with the flashlight or separately. And the nice thing is the clip is reversible. There are 2 places on the body of the flashlight where the clip will fit in. It will fit with the clip towards the head, and it will clip with the clip on with the clip away from the head. So if you want to attach it onto different flat items like a baseball cap bill or something like that, you can do that. It does come with a lanyard ring attached, and there is a small split ring from the factory included in that. However, there is no holster or case or anything similar. For some reason, Zebralight does not include those with any of their flashlights. Dimensions, course, these are going to be on their website, but I'm just going to reiterate them. The head diameter is 1.2 inches or 30 millimeters. The body diameter is 0.98 inches or 25 millimeters. And the length total is 3.8 inches or 96 millimeters. The flashlight alone is 2.26 ounces or 64 grams without the battery or anything else. The clip is 0.14 ounce or 4 grams. And the battery, clip, and light, all dressed out, complete, ready to go, is 3.88 ounces or 110 grams. It does stand on its tail, so that's kind of nice if you want to just set it on a table or something. But it does not have a magnet in the tail, so it won't stick to underneath your car hood or your refrigerator or anything like that. It does automatically step down from high to medium and then medium to low and ultimately to off as the battery capacity diminishes down to nothing. However, I've never run mine down that far. There is a specification in the manufacturer's website called tint deviation. This is not a setting that you can change. It simply lets you know that if there are multiple LEDs in a flashlight, that number is indicative of how much one LED will be different from the others, because you can't manufacture a LED to a specific, very, very finely tuned color temperature and tint deviation. There has to be some sort of difference between them. And so that is simply an indication of how close they match. I'm assuming the lower the number, the better they are. However, I did not ask Zebralight to elaborate on that, so I don't know for sure what that tint deviation really means. There is a clip on it. However, the problem I have is the way I carry it is inside my left pocket with the clip out. And I found several times that I would push up against something and the flashlight would separate from the clip itself. Fortunately, I was able to realize that and retrieve the clip before I walked off and left it and had the flashlight just loose on my pocket. So what I did to solve that problem was I took another very, very small split ring and I ran it through the clip. There is a slit in the clip, and I ran it between the clip and the factory supplied O-ring, or split ring. And now, with that done, I'm able to not have to worry about pulling the clip off and losing it. It stays on there very, very solid. It is round, so it will roll on a gradient surface if tipped over. However, if you have the clip on it, that helps really prevent a lot of rolling, but it could, if it has enough steam, it could just roll right off. It is much too small to be used as a defensive weapon. It's about the size of a roll of quarters and only half the weight. Zebralight does not manufacture or market anything for rating on a firearm, so if you want to put this on a firearm, you're going to do that at your own risk. All right, so now you're probably thinking, all right, you've given us a lot of data and a lot of information, a lot of pictures, a lot of video, but how bright is it in real life? How practical is it, and how bright is it in actual use? Well, let's take a look at that. All right, this is 0.15 lumens, and I'm just holding it about a foot away from my face. You probably aren't going to be able to see my camp stove over here, which is about 3 foot away, or my blue water jug. If you can, that's not bad for 0.15 lumens, but you aren't going to see much of anything else. So I'm going to jump it up to 10.5. This is 10.5 lumens. Hopefully you can see me now. Here's my stove and my water jug. And you might be able to see around the table quite well. Now let's jump up to 61 lumens. This is probably more than enough to get around the campsite. I'm just picking it up and holding it around. I'm going to turn around because a lot of this is probably going to be highly visible. There's my tent. It's probably about 15 feet away. My truck is probably 10 feet away. You can probably see quite well into the trees. That's about 20 foot up there to the bottom of those branches. So now let's go to 135 lumens. And you can probably see the tent very, very well. You're going to see the smoke of the fire. I'll put a distance up here on the screen about where these things are. But again, this is, let me look, this is 135 lumens. My truck is very, very visible. This tree next to the truck, the tent, the trees behind me, that tree right there that I'm going to point out with this arrow is, let me look, that is 50 feet away. That tree there is 50 feet away. That one with a crook in it is 75 feet away. So now I'm going to jump up to 557 lumens, and you can really see that tree back there that I'm pointing out with the arrow. That is, let me look at it, I wrote it down, 150 feet away is where that tree is back there. Obviously this is more than plenty to walk around the campfire with. Now let's jump it up to the maximum of 1816 lumens, and there is a tree back there that is 225 feet away because I measured it, and it is easily visible. So you can see how bright this flashlight is at 1816 lumens. Now it may not hold that lumen output all the time. It may drop down if the battery's starting to get low, but that is definitely one bright flashlight. Even for a flood, it puts out a lot of light and can light up a large area very, very quickly. I have had one problem with this flashlight. In the 6 months or so that I've owned it, it's failed me 3 times, and the failure is this. I will turn it on and it stays on. I can't adjust the lumen level, I can't make it brighter or dimmer, and I can't shut it off either. It just locks in once I turn it off. The only way I can change that is I turn the tail cap for it to turn off, disconnect the battery from the electronics, that resets it, and it turns back on, and it works fine until it does that the next time. That may be not such a big deal because I generally run in low lumen levels, so I might click my flashlight on, use it, and then without even looking at it, just push the button, stick it in my pocket. It's just the idea that it's going to sit there and run with we're not being used, and it's going to eventually run the battery down. One of the reasons I wanted this flashlight is because I'm able to program it with the G6 and G7 modes. The only problem with that is the only interface is this button right here. You have to sit here and figure out how to click it just right to be able to program it. And you have to go through a lot of it. It took me about an hour and a half to get this programmed the way I wanted it in just G6 and G7, and that's not even programming the possibilities in G5. I left that to the factory. But I felt like I was typing out War and Peace or Moby Dick in Morse code with this thing by the time I got it programmed. However, once I got it programmed, I had G6 and G7 set up exactly the way I wanted. This is how I have G6 set up, and this is how I have G7 set up. My G6 is my low mode. I have all my lower lumen levels, and this is where I keep my flashlight 99% of the time. It's rare that I need more than, I think it's 61 lumens for my everyday use. If I do need to, I can go to G7, and I've got these other 6 lumen levels available to me all the way up to the maximum of 1860. So that's one of the big pluses for this flashlight, is you can customize G6 and G7 any way you want to. This is how I've done it, but you can program them with those 12 lumen levels any way you want. If you want to have a very, very low system to where you set it on a G6 or G7, all of them are low lumen levels, so you can hand it to your kids. They can't blind themselves with it. They can't leave it out and let it run down overnight or something. Or if you want it always on bright, you can program the G6 and G7 any way you like. That's one of the nice things about it. With all that said, on a scale of 1 to 100, I'm going to give this flashlight about a 95. Yes, there are a few problems with it. There are things that I don't like about it, but it clicked all the boxes for me in my 5 requirements that I put in the start of the video. Retail price is $99. The manufacturer offers a 3500 milliamp 18650, which I went ahead and purchased. I think they're $7 extra, so for $107, and there's free shipping at that point from Zebralight. You get a very, very capable flashlight. You get a 3500 milliamp battery, 18650, so you've got uber long run times. You've got the clip, you got the extra, the O-rings, and you can order those extras. Again, this clicked all 5 of my requirements. I have 0.15 to 1816 lumens in 12 different steps. That's a wide variety. I don't think there's another company out there that makes flashlights with that many different lumen levels. Another thing that sold me is the, I think they claim 93 to 95 CRI, which is color rendering index. Again, that is very important if you need to distinguish colors critically. That could become important during like a medical condition. You need to actually see what color somebody's skin is or their eyes or something like that. In medical situations, color rendition can be very, very important. And again, it's the perfect flashlight for me. Now, whether it's perfect for you, that's up to you. The $99, that may be too much for some people. Some people say, now that's okay, which was what it was for me. And other people will say, $99 for all that? That's a bargain. So $99 is kind of a, it's just up to you whether it's worth it or not. So the Zebralight SC600Fd IV Plus, a very, very capable, versatile EDC flashlight. It was my choice, and hopefully this video has helped you decide not only on this particular model, but they have several models in the 600 line, both in the side click and the headlamp, where the button and the reflector are reversed, and you put it in a headlamp configuration and you push the button on the end. So hopefully this video has helped you decide whether or not the Zebralight 600 series or flashlights and headlights are for you. This is Backpack Hat coming at you with this trail tip. Be safe out there, and I will see you out on the trail.